Hey, welcome back to my channel. It is Saturday and I'm here today, guys, with another video. Guys, I did not upload a video on Thursday because I have been sick. I think I shared with you guys a little while ago, maybe last year, might have been 2 years ago, that I do have fibromyalgia, which I don't claim, but according to my diagnosis from a doctor, that I do have fibromyalgia. And so every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, I suffer from flare-ups, and I had one this past week, and I was trying to figure out what the trigger was for it, because usually when I have a flare-up, it's because I'm under stress or, you know, going through something traumatic in my life, and I have been experiencing some things lately, and so therefore I feel that. Okay, guys, I'm back. Had to take a pause for a moment. My phone was ringing. But, yeah, so I suffer from a clinical diagnosis of fibromyalgia. So I had a flare-up, and I was really sick on Thursday and mostly on Friday. And Thursday I had a fever, and I was really weak, and a lot of body aches and pains and stuff. So I had to kind of, you know, take a moment and try to work my way through it. I came home from work. I went to work even though I wasn't feeling good, and I stayed at work all day, didn't come home. I suffered on through it, fought through it, yes. And but I was coming home every night going to bed because my body was just that exhausted and that tired, and you know, that I had to just lay down. So that's what happened, and that's why I didn't get a video up for you guys on Thursday. But I'm here Saturday. I'm trying to make up for it. So I'm here today, and we're going to keep this thing going, dealing with relationships. I've been receiving email requests about certain topics, and this particular topic, I actually received an email about it, I know, over a year ago. Please forgive me. And I never addressed it because I don't think I was ready to. And I think I am now. And it's dealing with long distance relationships, communications. It's going to be like a two-part, because it's going to apply to relationships that you're currently in as well. But it's dealing with people who actually enter into long distance relationships. So I'm titling this video the ABCs and communications of long distance relationships. But it could actually apply to any relationships. You know, there's all kind of books written out there of how you do these things and you do that thing when you're in a relationship. But there are some basics, some ABCs that we know apply when it comes to relationships. And I don't think you have to be in a relationship to actually know or actually give advice when it comes to these. Because if you experienced it and you know what good things were happening in that relationship or things that made it fail in that relationships, then I think you are, in my opinion, you know, well enough to be able to, educated enough to be able to give some advice on what it would take to make that thrive. So before I get started, I just want to say hello and shout out to my new subscribers. I said I was going to start doing this on my, anytime I start a video. Thank you guys for subscribing. And guys, my channel has grown, and I will be giving another giveaway when I reach 2,000 subscribers, not far from that. So, yes, so I'm patiently waiting for that, but I'm going to try to do something really nice for my 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Want to shout out Athena Collections on Instagram for these earrings. I was in a fashion show, and this is an outfit that I wore, and I didn't have any jewelry coming home, so I was like, I saw these earrings in my jewelry box, and I'm like, I hadn't had anything to wear with them yet, and I said, look at here. This goes perfectly with this outfit. So shout out to Athena Collections. I'm going to scroll her here. And if you have not purchased anything from her, she is on Instagram, and she has some beautiful handmade jewelry. And I love her. You know, I actually plan on going on and getting some more from her. She's got a lot of beautiful pieces out there. So go and support her. So much into supporting small businesses and getting them out there. So yeah, that's my plug. But want to get on into the topic for today. And a lot of you don't know that my whole connection with Memphis had to do with me coming out here years ago, like back in 2007, because I was actually in a relationship with a man. And I think I shared this in a real old video, maybe back in 2013. It's an old one. So if you weren't following me then, you probably don't know anything about it. But I was in a relationship with a man here, and he was an established entrepreneur business. He had several businesses. So I made a decision to move here because we had been doing our relationship long distance almost 2 years. And so I said, well, it was more convenient for me to move here because the field of business that I was in, which was the hospitality industry, I was working in a hotel as a manager. I could probably find work in a hotel here if I had to. But my whole goal was to work in the businesses with him because we had started flipping houses and into the real estate market and like rental property and things like that. So that was going to be what we were going to do. So moved here, and I think we was together for a year before we split. And I'm kind of using it as like my example a little bit, but this can apply, like I said, in other relationships that you enter into, not just long distance relationships. And that is one of 2 long distance relationships that I've done. So some of the ABCs that we should actually have a conversation about, and that's the main thing about communication, is that you have to conversate. You have to know what each person is feeling and thinking. So I think before you enter into a long distance relationship, that conversation needs to take place as to what are your long-term goals. Because if you're just dating and having a good time, then it's not so serious. It's not really that necessary. You're just having a good time, and then whenever you can all get together and have fun, then that's what you're doing. But if this is a more serious relationship, then the conversation needs to be taking place about what are our long-term goals? What do we both want from this? Those conversations has to take place, because if you go into it blindly and one person is thinking it's one thing and the other person is thinking it's something else, and then when you come together and it meets and it's not, what either one of you thought, then that could cause a lot of heartache and pain and unnecessary drama in a relationship. So that needs to be established up front. What are our long-term goals? And if you both are in agreement that your whole goal is to eventually be together, this is somebody you're looking to be with on a long-term basis, then there's certain things that apply with that. We already know that relationships in itself take a lot of commitment and dedication and, priority. It has to become a factor every single day. You can't let it slide. You can't just say, oh, I'll take care of this later on. It is a priority. It's something that you have to make a conscious effort to put something into it every single day. It's not something that you can say, oh, I'll get back to that the other day, next, day after tomorrow, or next Saturday, or, next week, I'll do something here. No, it's an everyday thing. You cannot be in a relationship, and let alone a long distance relationship, without not realizing the importance of making sure you're applying something to that relationship every day. It's hard enough that you have the distance between you and you're not privy to be able to see each other at will. If you're in the same city with somebody, you can make a decision today. Let me get up and I'm going to meet my, significant other at Starbucks, or we're going to go meet at a movie today. You can just be spontaneous like that and just get up and do it. But when you're living in different cities and involves travel, it's not so easy. So the commitment has to be reinforced. So that means extra effort has to be put into it. So that means you have to set aside times that you dedicate to that relationship, whether it's conversation, whether it's, sending a beautiful letter, or pictures, or, you know, sending something, a special love song or whatever, but it has to be a consistent thing that you do every day. You need to talk. You need to know how you're doing. You need to have these conversations where you listen to that person and hear about their day. They may have had a rough day and they just might need to hear your voice to calm them, or for the encouragement. You know, sometimes you just want to know about their day and what they went through that day. It's just a conversation that you need to have. Then there needs to be goals to be set as to how you all will see each other. Is it going to be a monthly occasion? Is it going to be a bi-weekly occasion? Is it going to be a weekly occasion? And then there's that financial part of it. You know, we can't overlook that, because when you involve traveling to see a person, it involves money. You can't get there without making an expense. Whether you're flying, whether you're driving, you still have to secure flight arrangements, gas money if you're driving, and possible hotel accommodations if you don't have a place to stay. So then there involves saving money for that, you know, or planning for it so that you can have it when the time comes. What are some of the things we're going to do when we get together? What are our goals that we're going to have to eventually be together? So these are things that you have to be mindful of when you're in a relationship, and that it's going to take that extra effort. Set aside a time of day that you get to talk to this person, because you guys have your own lives and you're out doing other things, which you should continue to do those things. Still have your own interests. You might have children and other friends and things like that. You continue to do that, but this person is a priority as well. So you have to set aside a special time for that person so that they can feel just as important to you as the other things that you have going on in your life. And if you're planning eventually to come together, what are the plans for that? Is it going to be in 1 year? Is it going to be 2 years? Is it going to be in 3 years, 5 years? What are the goals? Are we going to get married? Are we going to live together? What are we doing? What is the goals? That way we can both be on the same page, because some person may feel like, I don't want to ever get married. I just want us to be a couple and maybe live together. And the other person may not feel that that's something that they would want to do. So you got to know what the ultimate goal is, the long-term goal, and what you're doing to see if this is something that suits you. Now, once again, I will state that if it's not that serious, then this is maybe not a conversation that you even need to consider having. You just have a good time. You get together when you get together. But if you're planning on having a future together, this is a needed conversation. Bottom line, it's a needed conversation. And some little red flags that I'm going to give you guys that I've gotten in long-term relationships that I think sometimes we tend to overlook. If you ask your significant other, if one of you guys are, willing to make the sacrifice and make the move sooner than planned, and you ask that significant other if you were to move to that city, would they like that, and they tell you not to do it, then that lets you know right there that they're not where you are. They're not on the same page with you. Because if I was in a relationship with someone and they told me, hey, I'm willing to make the sacrifice to move to you next year. I know we said we was going to do this in 2 years, but I'll find me a job. I'll find me a place. We can still work on our goals, but I want to be with you. I don't want to be without you. So I'm willing to move there. And this person loves me and they have told me they're willing to make that sacrifice. I'm jumping for joy, guys. I'm excited. But if someone tells you, no, I don't want you to do that, then that's letting you know that you are not a priority in their life, because they're not excited about you moving with them. If that person can't do anything but text you, because we know how technology is today. All they do is text you all day. They never really want to hear your voice, and they're texting you in the morning, maybe at night, or throughout the day. They may say something like, you good? Or let me think of some of the other ones I didn't had in my life. Just checking on you, but never important enough to pick up their phone and be like, hey, I just wanted to hear your voice. If that's not something that can be important and someone who says that they love me, just to be able to hear my voice, then something's wrong. If you cannot call your significant other and ever reach them when you're calling them, that's a red flag. It should not be a time that you should be able to feel like you can't call. Now, there will be times when they are busy. I'm sure you guys have worked out your work schedules, because you might have different work schedules where you call, you're working opposite, shifts. So therefore, it would make it difficult for you to be able to reach them at that time. And of course, sleeping and stuff like that. And then sometimes it'll be the occasional, they're busy. They might be involved in some other activities. But if it's every time you turn around that you're calling them and you're never able to reach them, and then they maybe call you 4 or 5 hours later and say, oh, by the way, I never saw your call, or I had it on silent, I was asleep, I was running to the store for my mom. That there's 99 reasons why they never can answer the phone when you're calling them, then that's a red flag. And I just have to call it like it is. And I got excuse me, I got a lot of questions about this, and I wanted to be very real and really honest in my answers, because this happens more often with women. And I'm not out here taking away from my men. I know you guys, y'all deal with this too. But I feel that more women get the short end of the stick when it comes to this type of deal. But women are so nurturing and so forgiving that we will convince ourselves that, okay, maybe I'm just overthinking. Maybe, it is what they're saying. But if you're not feeling the love that this person say they has for you, that same effort they made when they got you should be the same effort they should be giving to you once you guys make a decision that you're together. They're sending you flowers, they're writing you love songs and poems and, cooking dinner for you, or sending whatever it was. I'm just throwing out things. Whatever it was that they were doing when they was pursuing you and trying to get you, calling you all the time. If they stopped doing those things, but it was something they were able to do prior to you committing to the relationship, what is that saying? I don't know what it is. Sometimes I think it's the thrill of the chase. I think a lot of times people just want to see what they can accomplish. And once they have accomplished it, then it's no longer exciting to them. But it should not be that overwhelming to you for you to feel like you're not receiving the love that you once felt, or, that you're not being made a priority. So those things are important. If you're the only person putting out financially to make sure you guys come together, that's another factor. I'm not one of those people who will just sit up and say that it's a man's job to pay for everything. I do respect a man, and I have many friends in my life who are the type of men who feel like they want to be the one who provide financially for excursions and things like that. I love my brothers. They're very sweet and they are wonderful men. But I'm not saying that has to be the way it is. So that if you're one of those female who feels like, we're going to both contribute to this, then I think that's a great thing. But if you're the person who's always coming up with the most financial part of this thing, and it's can be a strain when you start talking about traveling. You're talking about hotel expenditures and food, gas, and things like that, which was another question. If you're doing that and that person is not being considerate of the money that you putting out, and you still have your life, you still have all of the expenditures that you have for your everyday life in your home, where you're living, you still are taking care of rent and bills and things like that. So these are extra expenses that you're incurring. So it should be some type of agreement as to how those things are going to be taken care of. where you both can benefit from it, where it's not breaking one of you more than the other, you know. And if it's a costly thing, then maybe you have to put that on hold and do something at a later time. So you have to take all those things into play. Your heart is just, you can't go by that alone. Just the fact that you're feeling such a way about a person, you got to look at how that person is treating you. It has to measure up. You know, words are one thing, actions are something else. And I say that all the time in everything that I do. You can tell me all day long how much you love me, but if you're not showing me, then it means nothing. You know, I was telling someone the other day that if I could package, put in a bucket, how much I'm told on a weekly basis that I'm beautiful, that, oh, a man would be so lucky to have you, I would be a rich lady. Because if I could get $1, or even, you know, for every time I'm told that within a week, I have a little change in my pocket, guys, you know. So words don't mean anything if it's not backed up by actions. And I'm going to always say that, because you can tell a person it's great to hear it. People love it. Words can be encouraging. Words can be inspiring. But at some point, you got to see everything coming from that. So if you're telling me you love me, I need to see that love, you know. You can't just say the love, say you love me, and I never see it. That's just some of the basics for dealing with long distance relationships. You got to have that communication. Sometimes we don't want to sit down and have it because it can be a tough one. It can be conversations about things you don't want to say because you don't want to seem like you the gold digging female and all of that. But those things are important, you know, because if you're trying to bring these relationships together, it's going to incur expenses. It's going to incur, not only that, it's going to incur your time, emotions, you know, so it's an adjustment to your life. So these things are important to have if you're going to be in a long distance relationship. So those are my ABCs. I'm sure some people have some other ones, but you know, you got to be on the same page. You got to know what, you know, what you're working toward. Those are just really important. So that is all I have on that topic today. And it is a beautiful Saturday, and I am getting ready to get out and enjoy this day. I'm feeling so much better from Thursday and Friday, guys. I can't tell you. My body is feeling energized. I actually feel like I can eat today. I just ate a bunch of fruit and stuff, some strawberries and grapes and stuff while I wasn't feeling good, and some yogurt. So I feel like I can actually take some solid food in today. So that's my plan. And then I'm going tonight to see Martin Lawrence, the Lit Tour, with a bunch of different lineups of comedians. And I was blessed and gifted with 2 tickets to that. So I asked someone out with me for that event. And it's going to be nice because we're going to be in the skybox and we're going to treat it like important people. So yeah, I'm so excited about that today. I'm just gonna embrace my life and live it. No matter what I have experienced, you know, we just gotta keep taking a step every day, taking that step. Because you're gonna get there. You just gotta have that inner strength to say, I'm better than this and I can make it through this. So that's all I have today, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there, all you wonderful men who have raised and nurtured and loved your children. You are amazing and you deserve this special day. So until next time, I wish you guys peace and love, and I will see you next week. Take care.